welcome back to the podcast. It's a happy Thursday. I've got Matt Johnson with me. Matt is my good friend, my podcast producer. He's an entrepreneur himself. And welcome, Matt. Thanks for coming back on. We got
Thanks,
a lot
man.
to talk about today.
We do have a lot to talk about. And for anyone that can't see the video, we matched today. We're both wearing our official blue shirts for some reason. We did not coordinate this. I'm in a collared shirt. You're in a polo collared shirt. So we didn't coordinate on the shirt sleeve length. We're a little off on that, but everything else we got right.
And for everybody noticing the black eye, it was my dog, not my wife. It was my dog. I was playing with I got this puppy. He's 85 pounds.
Was it a paw or did he headbutt you?
Nah, he headbutted me, and we were playing, and he headbutted me.
That's hilarious. I was wondering. I thought maybe you socked
Yeah,
yourself.
everybody goes,
working out.
What the hell happened to your eye? I'm like, it's my puppy.
Exactly. Oh, so many places we could go with that. All right. So we're talking about the balance of power shifting.
Yep.
We're talking about labor shortages. We're talking about the fact that people are reevaluating their priorities. They are keeping their eye out for other things, even though you may not realize that your people are. And if you're on the executive side, you're probably wondering, like, hey, like what's in it for me? Do I have the right structure in the place that I'm at where I actually get to share in the rewards if I do a really good job? So there's a lot that's been on your mind. So let's just talk about the balance of power shifting and what you're seeing out there right now, and then we'll talk about just how companies can deal with it.
Yeah, a couple cool, like I read incessantly. I read incessantly. So Wall Street Journal, I don't get my news from Fox News. I don't get it from anywhere. I can get everything I need to know about the world in the Wall Street Journal, in Reuters, in all your business magazines, because look, business is a very neutral platform. I think it's business and economics. But what tells me that the balance of power is really shifting? Great Wall Street Journal article, I think it was 2 days ago. And it was talking about this work from home thing where very crafty, never underestimate the creativity of an American worker, a skilled American worker.
Okay.
Great Wall Street Journal article. And they're talking about, I got a secret. I got 2 jobs. And these people are working from home, software engineers, technical people, highly skilled, whatevers. And they've got a company that hired them. And they're like, hey, look, I'm not killing it for them, but I'm not, they're full-time jobs. And they're like, hey, look, at the end of the day, my company never really cared enough about me to help me kill it. They never killed it for me. So I'm working for them. And oh, by the way, I saw this other job on LinkedIn, or somebody approached me for it. And I said, yeah, I'll do that. So I got 2 jobs going. And they're doing Zoom calls, and they got 2 computers, and they're muting one, or they're saying, hey, I'll see you on Slack. I'll take care of it. And they're like, hey, look, it's a little stressful. I don't really want to get, it's not illegal. I don't want to get found out. Might put me in a weird position. But at the end of the day, there was one article about a guy's making $500,000 working 2 jobs. And he's like, yeah, I'm working hard. But at the end of the day, I'm putting a lot of money in my pocket. I'm doing exactly what both companies need me to do. And you know what? A year ago, 2 years ago, that would have been absolutely unheard of. Yeah. You never in your life would have. But it tells me that employees now feel like, hey, look, I got so much power and my skills are in such demand. I'll try it.
That is true.
I'll try it. And I got some latitude. I'm working from home. I'm getting done what the company needs me to get done. If I can do that in 20 hours a week, I'll do it in 20, and I'll work somewhere else for 20. And I think that now companies, and then the second article I was reading was Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines now has an employee referral program. Refer a friend to our company to work. We'll give you $300. I mean, it just tells you that, Southwest Airlines has always been an employer of choice for a lot of people in the nation. Consistently top 10 employers in the country to work for. And now they're even having a hard time finding
right
people. So I think what's, when I talk about, you see that balance of power, and I don't exactly know what truly caused the major shift. Maybe just a lot of people retired. Maybe a lot of people just say, "Hey, hands up. I'm taking control of my life when I can't really take control after COVID, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it, but I got a lot of skills, and these skills are in demand, and I'm going to start to, you know, put value in my life." So look, I'm never about balance. I'm always about, a lot of times it's for the company, or a lot of times for the employer. And a lot of times the employer has to give to the person, and it's always
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of a teeter totter.
Yeah.
But that teeter totter is now shifted towards labor.
Yeah.
for
Hardcore.
whatever for whatever reason.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it brings a lot of corporate, it brings a lot of need to corporate boardrooms to enhance emotional intelligence and how they deal with, look, not just, I'm not talking about unskilled everyday workers. At the
Right.
end of the day, that's just a money thing. They'll,
Yeah.
$15 an hour, $16 an hour, 14, whatever the number is, whatever, that's just a money deal.
Mm-hmm.
But for your skilled employees who really bring value to the company, I think it's bringing a major shift in mentality and how they're dealt with, and how you interact with them, and how you bring value to their lives.
So let's dig into that a little bit. So the emotional intelligence part, I think you see it probably show up, or the lack of emotional intelligence show up a lot in the negotiation process. That's the impression I get from the stories I've heard from you.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's one of the places where that lack of emotional intelligence shows up, and then starts the relationship off with an executive off on the wrong foot, even if they do end up completing the deal and bring that person in. So what are some things that you've seen that you would avoid, or maybe some ways where they need to get better at emotional intelligence to make sure when they are bringing somebody in, they bring them in and maintain their enthusiasm to actually come in and do what they're hired to do?
Yep. Couple things. One, King Kong makes a bigger impression than Bambi.
Okay. That might be the clip of the show right there.
All right.
Go on.
Let's just talk about King Kong and Bambi. You come in like, you see the person you want, and do you come in like King Kong and say, here's an offer they can't say no to? If they say, round numbers, they want 150.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting 165.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you come in like Bambi? Ooh, will they take 145?
Right.
Because, and oh, by the way, will they move to Houston or, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Louisville? Bambi people that come in like King Kong will win the fight for talent all the time. Now, look, I'm not saying you have to overpay
Right.
for everybody, but I'm thinking if you want the top talent, just did a search for a group, and CEO of the company just said, I need the right person who can help me double this thing in 4 years. And I'll pay him a trash load of money to do it. I want someone who wants to come in and work with me to double this business, and who wants to get paid a lot of money to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is an awesome position. I don't even need a position description on that. All I got to do is throw that bait out there. That's good.
Yeah.
You're going to find the right person.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, when you limp into the fight, like Bambi, oh man, yeah, we really want somebody who's going to hit that home run, bring all their relationships and an instant impact. And ooh, do you think they do it for 130 grand? No. No. And you know what? That person doesn't want to talk to your dumbass internal recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to go through an extended hiring process where everybody but the janitor wants to talk about their skills and ask them about they want to talk to the person that's going to hire them, the person that is going to, they're going to work for the CEO of the company. If it's a small company, the CEO of the company, or if it's a big company, and they want to say, look, are we a good fit for each other? Let's just cut to the chase. Are we a good fit for each other?
Yeah.
And that's what they want. And, King Kong climbs to the top of the Empire State Building, who says, bring it on. He may die at the end, but Bambi did. But Bambi did too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man. Oh my god.
That's kind of it. But do you get the analogy I'm making here? It's like
absolutely.
when you come into the fight. When I was flying in the Navy, they used to call it limping into the fight.
Mm-hmm.
If you limped into the fight from a weak position, you got killed.
Yeah.
But if you came in hard, strong, fast, furious, in a strong position, you won every time.
Mm-hmm.
And now when the balance of power is shifting, companies got to move the mindset of, hey, if we want top talent, what do we got to do to get it?
Yeah.
And not only what do we got to do to get it, what do we got to do to keep them happy? Mm-hmm. And what do we got to do to keep them here? Because it's one of those markets where, hey, look, if, if we like a person, 3 or 4 other people probably do too.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, totally. All right. So how much do you see things from, let's say, the world of sports where the negotiations are probably, some of the highest level in the world, right? You're negotiating mm-hmm. athletes that will make 150 to 200 million over the life of their over the life of their contract, right? So you see all kinds of things that there's structured, multi-tiered performance bonuses, mm-hmm. different things like that. But essentially, like the team, an NFL team, an NBA team has the same incentive that a Fortune 500 company wants, which is like, hey, we'll pay you a trash load of money mm-hmm. if you can get us the performance that we're looking for. And ideally, we'd like to structure the contract in a way so that if you don't perform, we don't owe you as much money. And if you do perform, we'll pay you more money because we're gladly and happily making a crap load right along with you. Right. Our companies, is there any company that's doing it really well? Are there interesting things you see some coming down the road to make sure the incentives are aligned that way?
Private equity groups do it great. Private equity groups are some of the toughest people to work for. Private equity owned companies are some of the toughest people to work for. But at the end of the day, you just got to understand what they're there for. And that is to make money. Mm-hmm. They have a time frame, they have a goal. Our typical goal is, we're buying this company. We want to double it in 5 years. We want to get our shareholders a return quickly. And we want to get out. And we want people who are aligned with our goals and who will, we will compensate them in a way that their goal, that we're all aligned. If we win, they win. Mm-hmm. If we don't win, hey, thanks for playing.
And when you talk about working for a private equity company, you're talking about being the CEO of a company that's owned by a private equity company?
Private equity, yeah. Private equity owned, CEO, CFO, general manager, salesperson, where they come in and they say, hey, look, here's our goal. Our goal is, we will pay you so much in a base salary. We'll pay you so much in a bonus. Hmm. And at the end of the day, here's where we want to be. If you help us get there, you'll make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. If we get almost there, you'll get almost a lot of money. If we don't get there at all, you made your base and bonus, or you made your base. Mm-hmm. But at least look, if we don't get where, we don't make any money either. So if we don't make any money, we don't care if you make any money. Yeah. That's kind of the way it is. I mean, it's business. Hey, if I can't make money, I called the guy yesterday. He's like, if I can't make money on it, I don't want to do it. Yeah. Well, I don't blame you. Why would you? So private equity does it great. Where I'm seeing companies struggle right now is these big publicly traded companies who are kind of a mess, and they've got all these people, and they're like, it's like, hey, look, we want to return money. We want shareholder value and all that stuff, and and we bring people in, but ultimately it's a base and bonus type of thing, or it's a job. Yeah, it's a job. Exactly. Now the question is, do people want jobs, or do they want the opportunity to hit a home run. I mean, sports analogy, Pat Mahomes gets paid, is getting his contract's like $500 million.
Yeah.
I guarantee he'll bring in more than $500 million to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, he will.
Aaron Rodgers, same. Aaron Rodgers. Everybody wants Aaron Rodgers. Well, Tom Brady. They're the top. They're the top of the bunch. And then you look below them and go, all right, who's the tier below? What do we have to pay these guys? Well, look, if you want a Patrick Mahomes or a Tom Brady, they got to have a pretty good team underneath them, and they got to be motivated to, keep the top of the keep the top levels performance. So some people hate sports analogies in business. I really look, it's at the end.
I don't know.
It's all about money.
That's a business analogy. I was going to say that's not even on the field performance. When you talk about GMs like structuring contracts of NFL players, like that's just flat out business. That's not sports.
It's all about business. And you go, what does this guy want?
Yeah.
And then when you sit there and you say, hey, well, will you do it for 100? Will he do it for 100 or she do it for $140,000? Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
That's a deal.
And do you want the person that at the end of the day takes 5% less than what that position is worth on the open? You know what I'm saying? Like that, just, you have to remember that says something about them too, if they take it.
Yeah. Now look, I'll throw a different scenario out here.
Okay.
I want that $140,000 person or whatever. If I want to pay under market, am I willing to take on a little bit of a project?
Sure.
Am I willing, hey, look, are you willing to put some time, effort, resources, and energy? Why don't you go find, instead of that true, proven performer, why don't you go find somebody who's got a lot of upward ability and groom them? Go find a young executive, late 20s, early 30s, who's got a lot to learn, but they've got high EQ and high IQ, and throw them in the deep end and say, we'll work with, we know we're going to overwhelm you. But for the next 10 years, you're going to be really, really happy with it, that we overwhelmed you, and you're going to learn a lot, and you'll never look back. That's not a bad, but I rarely have that conversation with people. They're all like, we want immediate results now. I'm like, well, yeah. If you want immediate results, pay for it.
Yeah.
If you've got some patience, build it. Build the teams. The Atlanta Braves were, once we're back, we're a farm team again, but the Atlanta Braves, have an amazing farm team system. The Richmond Braves, and I'm trying to think. Dale Murphy was a 3-time MVP, and he played for the Richmond Braves. I'm trying to think of the other two guys that he played with.
We talking pitchers back in the day in the 90s?
Murphy was a third baseman. He played for the Braves. He played for Philadelphia. He was MVP with 3 different teams.
Goodness.
But there were 3 all-stars on the minor league baseball team with him at the same time. They all went up to the pros, and they became, and this goes back to, Jesus, I don't even know if you're born, Matt. It goes back to when I was a kid in 1980. And, but they built this farm team, and they invested in the farm teams. And they're like, all right, let's go invest in these young people. And, and then, for a decade and a half, they were at the top of in the World Series or the playoffs, like every year. It was a dynasty.
Yep.
It was all because they invested in young players.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of the draft.
Yep.
Yeah, which I think there's. I do listen to a lot of NFL stuff, and there's a good analogy for, you talk about the proven performer, and which is what every company wants when they go out into the open market and find somebody rather than promoting from within. That's the reason you go out and you find somebody on the open market, is you want that proven performer. There's a former NFL GM that said, look, like going out into the free agent market is like getting all of your weekly groceries at Whole Foods. There's really only a few things you probably need from Whole Foods that you can't get anywhere else, but you're going to pay twice as much for the rest of the stuff. You buy the average bag of chips. They can get the same bag of chips at Whole Foods, but you're going to pay 30 cents more for the bag. Like you're always going, like if you go into the free agent market, it's not that you're going to necessarily overpay for what you get, but you're going to have to pay more than if you develop the talent from within, and you have to accept that. You have to acknowledge that, hey, I don't have the talent to just promote somebody from within, so I'm going to have to go into the open market, and therefore I'm probably going to pay a premium. And and if you want the right person that picks you and your opportunity over the 5 others they could pick, which in this market they've got a lot of selection, then maybe you have to pay more than you would like to.
Right. Well, think about it, current events. Let's go to current events. Let's go to Afghanistan. Really good article I read about why the Afghan armistice fell like a house. The Afghan army fell like a house of cards.
Yeah.
And it came down to, they said that the morale was incredibly low in the army. They knew the Americans were leaving. They knew that their own government was corrupt, and they were low pay. It was low pay. It was very dangerous. They knew the Americans were leaving, and there was nothing. If it wasn't for a paycheck, there was nothing. There was really nothing there. So they're all like, "Hey, look, we'll just lay down our weapons and roll over like a puppy."
Yeah.
And now you think about companies that are going, hey, look, if you continually go outside to get King Kong instead of developing the people internally, what's the message that you're sending to your own employees? I mean, I worked at Gulfstream Aircraft, and this was the mantra at Gulfstream Aircraft. It was the stupidest philosophy I've ever heard anybody say. Okay. They used to tell up-and-coming salespeople, or up-and-coming, talented up-and-coming executives, go to Cessna or go to Dassault or go somewhere else and get the really strong experience, and then come back, because we're like the big leagues. We don't hire from, we don't. And literally that was the conversation.
Okay.
And they would say, you're never going to get that job here. Go to a different company and go get it somewhere else. Go get that right experience. And then someday you can come back.
Interesting. So they didn't want to promote from within. It was almost like a big league club that had no minor league teams. Like, not interested. We only hire people from other big league clubs.
Right. So they had this cadre of people who were there for the long haul. They're all there for the long haul. But to get to that upper echelon where you could really make some serious impact and some serious money, they never hired it. They never did it.
That's interesting. Yeah, that violates the whole up or out principle. You can't have up or out if there's no up.
Now look, now Gulfstream, I think, is actually one of a culture that was created at Gulfstream. It was a very aggressive culture. It was a very strong culture. It was one that really is, they've developed 9 airplanes in a row on time, on budget, and they haven't failed. But the mentality back, 20 years ago was, leave and then come back. And that's
so crazy.
Yeah, at least, and now they hired great engineering talent, but they brought a lot of people in from the outside. You're like, wow, what are you telling the folks internally when you're not promoting?
Yeah. Interesting.
So, that's, so that's why the shift of power, I think, when talented, skilled executives are realizing that, hey, look, I get it from an employer standpoint. When you got 1,000 employees, you can't focus on any one person, but you break those 1,000 employees down into small teams, right? So you've got somebody who is supposed to be thinking about their team. Who do I want to coddle? Who do I want to raise up? Who do I want to be bringing along? Who are the 80% that are going to be okay? And who are the 20% I just want to get rid of?
Yeah.
Right. It's, you want to make sure that you're really focusing on the people that really want to be there and really want to do well, and you're making sure that they have all, not just the tools they need to be successful, but the support, the drive, the discipline, that feeling of, hey, if I do well here, these guys really have my back.
Yes.
And there's then there's people that are going to do okay. And then you got, it's everybody else you don't care about.
Yeah.
You just let them self-select out. And they do. So I think, but that's the shift to balance of power. If you make it, if everybody feels powerless, they'll go get their own power.
Yeah.
They'll find the resourcefulness and the intelligence of the American worker allows them to go find their own power. I think in today's, like the way it is right now. So
yeah, even if it means flat out quitting and then figuring out what else they're going to do. We talked about this, I think, before we hit record, that 4 million people quit their jobs in April. I guarantee you all 4 million didn't have their next job lined up.
Why did I start my business?
Why did you start?
14 years ago, look, I walked away from a very high paying, base plus commission job to a zero base, all commission job. And then when the banking industry blew up and we blew up, and people were saying, well, come to work with us, you can make this much money. I'm like, I could go make that on my own.
Yeah.
I could go do that on my own. I could do it on my terms. I can do it. You're starting to see a lot of entrepreneurs out there. And
good.
So I like it too, but in the end of the day, I mean, it's, never underestimate. I think that's what makes this country so great is I look at people and their resourcefulness and their ability to go, hey, look, I'll just go, I'll go make my way in life.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. And I think sometimes, employers and companies forget that, their employees are very resourceful. And if they'll do it for you if you let them, or they'll go do it somewhere else if you let them.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good place to end off. How do people reach out and connect with you?
910-509-7129 is my office. Craig at northstaresg.com.
All right. And then for the podcast, make sure to go leave a rating and a review. If there's a particular guest, especially that people enjoyed, make sure to give them a shout out in the review. We read every single one. That's one of the best things you can do, just to thank Craig for hosting the show and having really amazing people on as guests, myself not included, of course. We're talking about the aviation and aerospace guests that he has on. So if there's somebody that stuck out, an episode that stuck out to you, go leave a review, mention that in the review. We really appreciate it. And with that, Craig, we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for coming on. I hope you enjoyed the latest edition of the Aerospace Executive Podcast. You can reach out to me directly, Craig at northstaresg.com, or check us out at www.northstaresg.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or on YouTube. Just do a search for Aerospace Executive Podcast. Thanks again. I'm Craig Pittman.